Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to the video. I have something a little bit different for you today from my usual Sunday vlogs. What I want to do here today is build a small little stand for my phone. Now the reason for it is I want to turn my phone into a low magnification microscope. Now for those of you who have been following the channel, you know I culture an awful lot of microorganisms for my fry feeding. Mostly paramecium and cyclopses, but there are other things in there. My current method now for checking how the cultures are doing is to take a small fraction of a drop, put it on an actual microscope, and have a look at it and see what's going on in there. Well, you can guess because, I have currently, I think, 7 cultures going at the moment, and the smallest one is a gallon, and they go up to 2 gallons. That's an awful lot of volume, and I'm only, sampling a very small amount. A fraction of a drop at a time. So I need to take a number of samples from each of the jars, and sometimes I kind of get a misrepresentation of what's going on. Sometimes, you just hit a dead spot. They're not everywhere. They're mostly wherever the bacteria are thickest for them to feed on. So what happens is sometimes I, discard a culture because it doesn't seem to be doing as well as the others. And I want to do something that is going to be a little bit more of a population study, let's say, of a culture. So what I'm going to do here is, when I have this stand, I'm going to be able to put on, we'll get to that in a little bit, a small container, and I'm going to use a piece of black acrylic for contrast, and I'm going to be able to put in, not a lot of volume, but it's going to be more along the lines of about a teaspoon instead of a fraction of a drop. So the end result is, in much shorter order, I'm going to be able to take each of my cultures and check to see what's going on in there, because it is important to keep an eye on them, not every day or anything, but I want to be able to make sure that they're thriving and doing what they're supposed to be doing. And of course, because I'm feeding a fair amount to the fish, I don't want to over strip a particular culture. So this is going to hopefully be able to do that for me. Now, before I went to all this trouble here of cutting all this stuff up, I did test it out. I had a piece of black acrylic, I had a small little container, and I went along and took a little sample from each of my cultures and had a look at it. In that particular case, it was a much smaller volume, and I tested out various kinds of lights and whatnot to use for them. Anyway, I got a relatively good idea of, first off, how high to keep the phone from the containers, which is going to be that particular little piece of acrylic there, you see. And of course the contrast is going to be the little piece of black acrylic. So I came up with this. This is a good height. This is 3 inches. And all I'm going to do here now is build a little platform that's going to fit over. You saw it at the beginning. It was a larger chunk of 1/4 inch. That's going to be the base for this whole thing. And the purpose of it being 1/4 inch is I wanted to have a little bit more weight, sturdiness to it, just in case I bump it or whatever. I didn't want it to. I want it to be a little bit more sturdy. So this is a quick glue up, by the way. It's not going to take very long at all. That is the platform there, pretty much done. And what I'm going to do is flip it over here in a second. I'm going to attach it to the base. And that's pretty much all I really need to do. But as you can see here, there are a number of other pieces. And the reason for them is I want to make this a little bit more user-friendly. The other problem with a microscope is it takes time to get into the cultures, find that spot where there's a fraction of a drop that hopefully will have some sort of representation of what's going on in there. Get it on the slide, get it under the microscope, check it out, and of course I'm going to record it. It's very difficult to get my phone on there because I have the whole deal there. It's just not convenient. This, on the other hand, once that is all set up, all I need to do is take that little container, the cylinder at the moment, and what I do is, instead of using a syringe, just get a pipette or a turkey baster, give a bit of a stir, take a fair representation of it, put it in the bottom, and have a look at it. Then I can pull that out in like a fraction of a second, dump that back into the culture, give it a shake or clean if I really am, being too anal about the, contaminating across from between my different cultures. put another bit of stuff in there, shove it back underneath, and again, in very short order, I can go through all my cultures and know what's going on in them, and know which ones I really actually do need to change over and subculture. So there you go. Now the reason for this is it's going to fit on top of the other piece, just like the other one, much narrow gap, because this is where the phone's going to slide in. This is a sleeve to keep the phone from sliding around too much, and keeping it more secure. Because once it's in place like this, it's good to go for, well, it's not going to take very long to do this, of course, but it'll hold it in place, and that's all they're going to do there. So I'm not going to show too much more of this to you. All I need to do is put that base on the cylinder, and off camera I'm going to trim that down, and then I'm going to put it on the lathe, of course, and just round it up, because I think it looks better in the square. Now, if you want to make something like this, you don't need to go to all this trouble. You can use, Tupperware container, something black. You need the black for the contrast. Without that dark black, the paramecium just don't show up very well. So you need, it could be anything, a little piece of cloth, felt, it doesn't really matter. And the thing to hold up the phone can be anything, like I said, just a plastic container that you've cut a hole in. And just something small. You can get, the dollar store has all kinds of tiny containers, and all you need to do, of course, is stick your phone on top, put the container underneath, a light source. I'm just using a headlamp I use for when I work in attics, and just shine a bit of light on it to give you what you need. I didn't bother using the phone light because it was vertical. I wanted to have the light come in from the side. Anyway, it works out really well. You're going to see that in a few moments. And that's it. You don't really need to do anything fancy. I'm building this because, well, I have all the stuff I need for it. And, it's not a difficult build at all. And by the way, if you have a table saw and you want to get into acrylic building, this is a really easy project. You don't need, of course, to take the cylinder I'm doing here and round it down. It is just nicer looking. I'm going to put a little bit more on the edge here, let it cure, and just all you need is it to be watertight, and of course with the black underneath, and that's it. I thought I might make a couple of these just to avoid some cross-contamination, but I don't think so. I think I just rinsed them in water, and it should be more than enough, because I do subculture these an awful lot, so I don't really have many issues with it. So there you go. This is it, all done. All you need to do is pull it out, put some liquid in it, have the phone in there, shove it underneath, and it works really well. I'm very happy with this little build. I'm going to show it to you in 2 seconds. There you go. This is half a teaspoon of water out of the culture. As you can see, it's teeming with all kinds of paramecia. I did notice a few cyclopses in there as well, but again, we're dealing with a small amount of water here, so it's going to make things a lot easier, but again, it's not going to be, exactly what's going on in the entire culture, which is more than fine by me. This is the second culture. I'm not sure what that yellowy orange thing up in the upper left is, but anyway, it's some dirt on there. So thank you for watching. Leave comments. Let me know what you think about all this, and I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.